Well, good evening to all of you from the Netherlands and abroad. There are quite some people watching, so please welcome to our very first worldwide museum in megapixel quality. Well, yes, there are more virtual museums, existing ones, or museums that were made up, but so far, the Mauritshuis is the only and the first museum in which you can zoom in on the brush strokes of the paintings on display. Every single inch of the entire museum was mapped by a robot, the Mad Pixel Rob. How did this happen? Well, I firstly would like to start with showing our gratitude to the owner of this robot, and that is the director of a company making all of this happen. And his name is Iñaki Arredondo, the CEO of Mad Pixel. And he's also here, Iñaki, so he will speak to you later. As I understood, there were logically many more museums interested in cooperating with Mad Pixel, but we were the lucky ones. So, Iñaki, thank you so much for approaching us. Thanks to you and your team, we can show our public this very virtual Mauritshuis.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So why it's so important to us to show the museum this way as well? Some people cannot travel for whatever reason. Either they live far away or they are ill. And for them, this app is a fantastic, great invention. But also for scholars and students, you can imagine so many people from the United States or other places in Europe and abroad study Dutch 17th century paintings, Dutch art, and for them it's also a very, very helpful tool. And why for us it's so important to do it like this? Because many people ask us, but if you have this, then aren't you afraid that your visitors won't show up anymore because from their houses, in their kitchens or wherever they are with their laptops, they can watch the whole museum well within 1 hour like that. And of course, we are not afraid because nothing beats in the end the real work and the real the real moment to be up close to a piece of art. But this invention made by Mad Pixel is so it's so innovative in so many other ways. So we are not afraid of losing visitors. It's the opposite. The opposite is true. Once you see paintings like this digitized, centimeter per centimeter or inch.
Sorry to interrupt. Martina, your microphone is out.
Ah, that's weird. I don't know where from which moment that happened.
Your last sentence.
Okay. The virtual museum is from today. It's available. Either you can download it from the Mauritshuis website or via the second Canvas app. You can download it via App Store or Google Play. I hope you will enjoy it. I hope you will use it as often as you like. And of course, I will hope to see you soon up close in the museum itself. And from now on, Sandra takes over. She is the project manager of this beautiful project. And Sandra can tell you much more about it than I can. So enjoy the presentation and I hope to see you later.
Thank you, Martina, and a warm welcome to everyone. My name is Sandra Verdel, Project Manager Digital Engagement and Head of the online team of the Mauritshuis. And I'm extremely proud to present to you today the virtual version of the Mauritshuis. Of course, we will be able, to answer your questions after the presentation. But if you got any questions during the presentation, please use the chat function of the Google Meet, and then we can answer your questions after the tour. At the Mauritshuis, we're always looking for new ways to make our collection and the stories behind the collection more accessible to the public. And for us, new techniques must never be the goal itself. It can't be some fun trick. It's my belief that they should be used to serve a higher goal of making our collection more accessible to the public. And well, that is exactly what is happening here. I'm convinced that you will feel it too when you wander around yourself after the presentation. It's completely intuitive, and the technique might be very innovative, but what I'm sure that will remain after the presentation are the stories about the paintings. And I do need to thank my colleague Geert-Jan Borgstein for this. Normally he writes all the stories you read in the museum. And for this project, he wrote all the amazingly engaging stories, making this project so attractive and showing all the details that I guarantee you have never seen before. Even I was surprised by all the stories he wrote. But before I can take you on a tour, I would like to introduce you to the man who made this all possible, Iñaki Arredondo, CEO of MedPixel.
Thank you, Sandra. Okay, it's in fact the whole company. So thank you, and thank you, Martina. We are also very happy because we know the Mauritshuis is a museum full of possibilities and amazing works of art, and as Sandra said, also an incredible storytelling. So we are very happy to introduce this to the public for the first time with you guys. And I wanted to say that some of the guests we have today, they know about the Mauritshuis, and they know about Second Canvas and the experience combining gigapixel resolution and storytelling. And they also know about virtual visits that have been around for years. The thing is that what we are going to introduce today is a combination of those things, a new experience, like Sandra said, that boosts the experience at the museum, combining the interaction with the space in top quality and top resolution with storytelling about the space and the artworks that we can find there, and also jump into the paintings and have more stories, more narratives in audio and in text that let us enjoy the museum and the collection like a whole thing. So just wanted to say that this is not just next level or next step in virtual visits, very important these days because of the pandemic and all the situation. But this is also like the basement. And on top of this basement, it's like a tool. We will be able to create new experiences and have these activities, educational activities, curatorial activities, virtual visits, virtual tours, online. So it's a powerful thing for the present, not the future, the present coming. And so let's start with one of these new virtual tours concept.
Yes, and now we enter the virtual museum. Martina, our director, Martina Gosseling, just warmly welcomes you to the presentation. But visitors of our virtual museum can also start with an introductory tour by Martina.
It's a 2 minutes introductory tour. You are going to see it like a film, like a Netflix experience, but if you, after this presentation, enter the Mauritshuis or the Second Canvas apps, you can enjoy the same tour and stop at any time and interact with anything you see during the tour.
Welcome. My name is Martina Gosseling and I'm director of the Mauritshuis. We've made this virtual tour of the Mauritshuis for you. Whether you are a regular visitor or someone who's never been to the museum before, in this digital environment you can see all of our paintings up close and get the feeling that you have the 17th century city palace to yourself. The Mauritshuis is located in the historic center of The Hague, and was built for Johann Maurits of Nassau-Siegen, who at that time was governor of Dutch Brazil. He was able to finance the construction of his expensive residence with money he had earned from the slave trade. Some 200 years later, in 1822, the house was designated a museum by King William I, the Royal Picture Gallery Mauritshuis. At the Mauritshuis you will find a world-class collection, including paintings by 17th century Flemish masters, such as Jan Breugel the Elder, Sir Anthony van Dyck, and of course Peter Paul Rubens. We also have earlier paintings in our collection, such as works by the 15th century artist Rogier van der Weyden and the 16th century German Hans Holbein. But the core of our collection consists of the best of Dutch paintings from the 17th century, the century in which painting experienced an unprecedented heyday. One of the most famous painters was of course Rembrandt. We're able to show him as a young artist with his anatomy lesson of Dr. Tulp, and as a mature master with one of his last self-portraits, a touching human portrait. Other iconic paintings at the Mauritshuis include the life-sized bull by Paulus Potter and the very intimate goldfinch by Karel Fabritius. But most people know us above all for that one painting by Johannes Vermeer. We have 3 works by him in our collection: Diana and her nymphs and the breathtaking view of Delft. But that one painting is of course the world-famous Girl with the Pearl Earring. These paintings hang side by side with many more great masters in a distinguished 17th century city palace in The Hague, the Mauritshuis.
Yes, and I know you can't wait to immediately discover the girl, but I would like to save her for later. And first take you to the Flemish masters in room 2. Just take a look around, and here you see what a gigapixel museum can do. See the amazing zoom level, and check the frames. Well, and this is one of my favorite artworks inside the virtual museum. If you discover this painting, you immediately get the added value of this app. We offer general information, we offer an audio tour, but we also drag you into the story, in a storytelling tool. And here we stand in a room full of art, some dream collection, a collection that never existed. But the wonderful part is some of these paintings actually did exist. Take a look at this Rubens. Today it's on view in the Alte Pinakothek in Munich. You might also recognize some other paintings when you move around through the painting like this.
Yeah, this one is familiar to me.
Exactly. Well, this painting by Mauritshuis is now hanging in the Louvre in Paris. And Iñaki, could you also zoom into the print the woman in the red cloak is holding in the front?
Mm-hmm.
Just take a look at the zoom level. Well, this print actually tells the story of Paris judgment, the start of the Trojan Wars. But take a look at the pose of Paris here on the left side. And Iñaki, could you now zoom out to the painter on the left?
Sure.
Here you can see Apelles, the painter, and he was in love with the girl Compaspa on his right. And Van Haag painted him in exactly the same pose as we just saw Paris, to emphasize the love story we see in front of us. And actually, I have never seen this detail in a museum before. It was the story by Gert-Jan who pointed that out for me. And there's so many other stories to discover in this painting. But I'd like to take you to, we can't stop. I know. I'd like you to take you also to Rubens and Bruegel. That's close by.
As you can see, we can stop at any painting, but some of them have this icon that allows you to jump into the painting and have even more amazing resolution and all the stories Sandra is telling you about.
Yes. Take a look at the zoom level. Here you can find the same storytelling tool as you can find in all the 36 paintings in the museum that we've created. Two painters worked together to create this panel, Peter Paul Rubens and Jan Bruegel the Elder. And these were the two leading painters in the early 17th century in Antwerp. And Rubens painted Adam and Eve, and Bruegel, he painted the animals. And the story where you can read here shares the story of their successful partnership. And we even go further. Some paintings also contain an infrared image, which takes you below the surface of the painting and revealing, for example, the pentimenti painters made during the process of their creating the painting. See.
So this is one of the features that are very known at the museums for documentation and internal purposes, but it's very interesting to have it here for the public in general, because it takes us, we can learn a lot of stories about how the process of the creation of a work of art is, and how it is not something like you can do from one day to the other, but something you are preparing, designing, changing, and it's very, very useful for educational purposes.
Okay. Now, I would like to take you upstairs. We can walk from room to room, but we can also use the map on the left side of your screen. We can jump upstairs now to room 16. And here you can clearly see the added value of having a virtual museum in gigapixel. We can look up to the ceiling, see the latasters. These are the only modern works in the museum. And take a look at the painting on the other side of the wall, and especially to the frame of the painting of Michiel de Ruyter. De Ruyter was a Dutch admiral, and to commemorate his victory, he commissioned multiple copies of this portrait. And this specific painting was ordered for the Admiralty of Amsterdam. And this portrait is still in its original 17th century frame. It's a gilded trophy frame, boosted a wonderful collection of weaponry. You can see the drums, the flags, the cannons. And de Ruyter's coat arm is displayed on the top center. You can move to the top, yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. You can be here for hours exploring different parts and discovering different elements.
Even if you're familiar to the museum. Well, I don't want to keep you in suspense any longer. Let me take you to room 15.
Okay.
It's the Vermeer room.
But I think you want to show the...
Yes, the girl with a pillow.
The girl.
Yes.
Okay. So again, we can see her from here, but also jump into the painting and discover every single element of the artwork.
Amazing, right? The girl with a pearl earring.
Yeah.
Have you ever been so close to her before?
So we can learn about the Vermeer's technique and other tricks Sandra is going to tell us
Yes.
now.
Yes. You might get why this can also be an amazing tool for educational purposes. You might have heard before that Vermeer painted the pearl with only 2 brushstrokes. But here you can see it for yourself. No hook, nothing. It's just 2 brushstrokes. And we also added a infrared image of the girl, so you can also discover her beneath the surface.
And some restoration moments.
Absolutely. She isn't as young anymore.
And there is one thing we haven't shown yet, which is that inside this, when you jump into the painting, you have this storytelling, but also you have a similar experience that we had with Martina in guiding us through the rooms, but through the artwork. So let's just have a 5 seconds as an example of what you can enjoy around all these pieces when jumping inside the paintings.
This is Johannes Vermeer's most famous painting, Girl with a Pearl Earring. She's looking at us over her shoulder with big sparkling eyes. She's tilting her head a little and her mouth is slightly open. We don't know who the girl was.
Okay, the rest you can discover by yourself. It's just an example.
Yes, and I can show you around for hours and hours. But I think the best way to discover it is to walk around, to wander around through the rooms and discover it for yourself. I would like to invite you to visit our website or download the second Canvas Mauritshuis app in the App Store or Google Play and find out for yourself. Boris, I'm not sure if there are any questions.
No, your story is so crystal clear. It's as crystal clear as the images by Mad Pixel. So if anybody, there are no questions in the chat, but if anybody has questions, please, well, ask them on the chat right now, or maybe even live, put on your microphone. The experts are here to answer all your questions.
Or any requests of paintings you would like to see?
I got some questions this morning after the Dutch press launch. If all the information is free, and the answer is yes. The app is free on your tablet, your computer, your phone. There are costs involved.
Totally.
No questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, first of all, I would like to give my congrats to Martine, Sandra, and to you, Inaki, for having created a fantastic virtual tour. Fantastic. It's amazing, and it offers us and gives us a new dimension of the beautiful paintings which are on display in Mauritshuis in The Hague. I love this virtual tour very, very much. My question is, what do you expect from this virtual tour? Which impact could it have on the Mauritshuis and maybe also on the visitors? Do you expect that you will get more visitors to the Mauritshuis? And I hope after the Corona pandemic will be possible again to visit the museum without any restriction. What do you think is the impact of this virtual tour in the future when the Corona pandemic is over?
Thank you, Helmut, for your nice and kind words for all of us and the whole team. As I said in my introduction, we don't fear that less visitors will come due to this app. It will be the opposite, because you might feel very attracted to the works of art you will see up close. and you might want to see them on your own and be in eye contact with the paintings. And on the other hand, the second part of your question, it's extremely helpful in times of Corona, when we cannot travel. It's a beautiful way to explore the museum's rooms, the museum's paintings, in your own time, and crisscross. You can visit every single room. So it's a beautiful tool that will help us to understand the works better. And you can really study the works of art. So I'm sure these kind of innovations will be extremely important for scholars abroad, because you cannot travel all the time. And that's what, if something Corona is teaching us, that these apps are so helpful. You don't have to travel to research your painting. So from all sides, it will be a very helpful and enjoyable adventure to dive into our museum like this.
May I add another question, please, Martin and Sandra and Inaki? What did you learn? What new impressions in the paintings which are in the Mauritshuis on display? Which new things did you detect during designing this virtual tour?
Sandra, did you said something about the painting when you
Yes, the Van Haag painting.
Yes.
Well, we haven't made any.
Maybe you can show it again. It's beautiful.
Yes, Iñaki, can you take us to room 2 again?
Sure.
Well, to be clear, the stories that are in this app aren't new, of course, but haven't been displayed to the public like this before. So it wasn't new for us at the Mauritshuis, but it's definitely new to show it like this for the public, because the kind of information is too much to share with someone walking around to the museum. But if we can go to the Van Haag again, with all the different kind of paintings, yes. Well, when you see this painting in the museum, you just see a fantastic painting with all kinds of images. But I never had the time and the opportunity when I'm in the museum to look at all these little stories and discover that all these little paintings have a story for itself. So this one is very interested to look into and see the storytelling Geert-Jan has written here.
Sandra, I do have another question.
Yes.
And to do some activities, workshops, etc., for a more specialized public that will use the new virtual tour but will imply a cost?
At the moment, we're not sure, but as Iñaki explained, this is a platform. It's just a starting point. And at the moment, we're discovering the ways we'd like to use to make it even more accessible for the public. So different options we have. We can include virtual tours through the museum. That can be tours for free, but we can also offer paid tours. And we can also use it during educational projects in the museum, or use it in classrooms. There are a lot of opportunities. And at the moment, we're still discovering what we'd like to use and in what way.
Yeah, exactly. As Sandra said, there is a lot of opportunities from here. We are just at the starting point, but of course we are all looking for the right way to offer a rich experience to the public for free, and at the same time have some income for the museums in parallel with like premium content or enriched experiences. So we are all working on these new possibilities. And of course, they will come.
Thank you. 2 questions about planning. how long did it take to complete the whole project?
Well, we started talking early this year, I think February, even before Corona. The museum is normally open 7 days a week. But when the museum closed during the COVID-19 closure, then we had the opportunity to capture the images. And I think capturing the images took us 2 entire days. And then we needed the time to stitch them all together and, of course, to write all the stories. It took us another few months.
Yeah, it depends on each case. How much time do we need to create such a project?
Thank you. Well, I don't think we have any more questions. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you all for attending.
Yeah.
Thank you all
to find
for
out
coming.
what you will discover.
Yes, and I think everyone can go to the Mauritshuis website, and on the homepage you have a link to this virtual tour, and also on the Second Campus Mauritshuis app on iOS and Android. You can find it as well. So if you have it installed, you can just update it, and you will get all this for you to enjoy at home.
And if you have any more questions, please mail them on pressoffice@mauritshuis.nl. Pressoffice@mauritshuis.nl.
Thank you for watching us.